Greetings and welcome to another installment from the Patchwork Productionz Learn to Crochet for Beginners series. In this video, we will learn how to make a flower. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Stitch, and Patchwork Productionz is all about learning and doing crochet. So make sure you subscribe so you never miss another installment. Without further ado, let's get started. So for this video, we are going to be making another applique. And if you're not aware of what an applique is, you can check out my previous applique tutorial if you haven't seen it. I'll have a link somewhere up here. And that applique was for making a clover leaf, but basically an applique is just a series of patterns made in a way to make something crocheted look like something, basically. And so this applique will be a flower. The last one we made was a clover leaf. This one will be a flower. Appliques can also be referred to as motifs. We learned about pattern stitches, which if you haven't seen any of my pattern stitch tutorials, be sure to check those out. But basically pattern stitches is you take the elementary stitches and do them in a pattern to get different stitch textures, different designs, etc. and so on. And motifs are basically patterns of pattern stitches. If you use a pattern stitch or if you just use regular elementary stitches, it's a series of stitches in a pattern to make something, and so that's how we get the design of different appliques, because you do a series of patterns of a certain stitch and it ends up looking like something. In this case, it will be a 5-petal flower. So we shall begin this, and it will be sort of like a follow along style. So let me just zoom in so that you can see what I'm doing. And just to let you know, all of the yarn I'm going to be using is weight 4 worsted weight yarn, and I'll be working it with 3 colors. You can pick whichever colors you'd like. For the flower center, I'm just going to pick a yellow. For the flower, the main piece of the flower, I'll do purple. And then for an additional piece, which I'll show you, I'm going to use pink. So you can pick whichever colors you would like. So let me just zoom in here. So now that we're a little closer, we can see what's going on here. So to begin the flower applique, 5-petal flower, we're going to begin with a chain ring, and it will be of a chain of 7. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I'm also using a USI 9 or 5.5 millimeter hook. I like using a slightly smaller hook than I usually do, which is a J10 for appliques. But you can use whichever hook size you'd like. So let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we'll join to the first chain made with a slip stitch. And so now we have our chain ring. You can also begin this with a magic circle if you want to avoid having a slightly large hole in the center. I don't mind, so I'm doing it this way. Or you can use a smaller chain ring. Not too small though, because you still got to fit all your stitches in. So for round 1, we are going to chain 1, and then we are going to create 14 single crochets in the center of the ring. And of course, this 14 single crochets does not include our chain 1. Our chain 1 is going to be a separate count. 2, 13, 14. So now we have our 14 single crochets in here, and when we count, we want to make sure we don't count that chain 1. So it can help sometimes to count from the other way around. Instead of starting from your first stitch, you do it from the last one you just made. So let's count this. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and then we have that chain 1 that we made. So this is the complete round 1, except for one last step, and that is we're going to make a slip stitch in that chain 1, and then we're going to fasten off. Now, I must warn you, because it seems like I do this every time to myself when I make chains at the beginning of my anything, basically. But do make that chain loose, because it will give you grief, and in this specific case, you'll need to use that. So I'll come back when I redo that and make that chain 1 a lot looser. You're going to want to keep that initial chain 1 loose. So after you do your slip stitch, fasten off, cut the yarn, we're ready to move on to the next round. Alright, so I redid this and made that chain a lot looser, and did my slip stitch into that chain 1, fastened off, so you should have 14 single crochets, a chain 1, and the center is complete. Now we will move on to our next color for the next round, which in this case will be, I think I decided purple, but you know, I think I'm gonna change that. We're gonna do pink. I don't know why I decided to change midway, but you know, it's just a flower. What could go wrong? So, as soon as I find the end of my yarn here, here we are. For the next round, we are going to join our yarn, our new color, into the same place that we made that slip stitch. So that would be the chain 1. See, this chain 1 needs to be pretty large because we use it quite a bit. So again, you want to make sure that you count and make sure you put this in the right place. So just a quick count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. This is our chain 1 right here, and so we're going to join our yarn. And we'll just do a simple join. Make a little loop here. Pull it through, if I can get it through. And it took some effort. And then slip stitch, and there we have our simple join. And now we are going to chain 4 right from the spot. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we chain 4. Time to get on to the good stuff. Actually, before we get on to the good stuff, something you can do to keep your little loose end from joining out of the way is just tie it to the center ring's tail end there, just so that it stays in place. Simple knot, so it doesn't get in your way. So now we can move on to making the petals of this flower. So we're going to repeat the next set of instructions so that we can get our flower. So what we're first going to do is 4 treble crochet together, but it's going to be a special kind of 4 treble crochet together. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to yarn over twice, insert our hook into the next single crochet, draw a loop, yarn over, draw 2 loops, yarn over, draw 2 loops, and now before we finish this, because we have 2 loops left on the hook, so before we finish the treble crochet, we're going to yarn over twice, insert into that same hook, into that same loop again, yarn over and draw a loop, yarn over, draw through 2 loops, yarn over, draw through 2 loops, and so now we have 3 loops left on the hook, And this is where the difference comes. We're going to yarn over twice before we finish that, and we're actually going to insert our hook into the next single crochet. So if you look carefully here, we did 2 partially done treble crochets into here, and we're going to make the next treble crochet into the next single crochet. So we're going to draw a loop, yarn over, draw through 2 loops, yarn over, draw through 2 loops, 4 loops left on the hook, yarn over twice, insert into that same one that we just worked this new treble crochet into, draw through 2, draw through 2, 5 loops left on the hook. So if you look, what we've done here is we worked 2 partially done treble crochets into 1 single crochet, and 2 partially done treble crochets into the next single crochet. So it looks something like this. 4 worked into 2, and then we're going to join them all at the top. So we're going to yarn over, draw through all 5 of the loops, so they're joined together, and then we are going to chain 3, 2, 3, and we are going to make a single crochet in the next available single crochet. So we just made that single crochet right in the next one. And so this is going to be 1 petal. And what we do from here now is we are going to chain 3, 2, 3, and we're going to repeat this very set of instructions 3 more times. So I'll work it again with you. And of course, the repeat instructions goes up to the chain 3. So the chain 4 was its own instruction, and then the 4 treble crochet together, the special 4 treble crochet together, the chain 3 single crochet, and chain 3 is all one set of instructions that's going to be repeated 3 more times. So I'll work the next set of repeat with you, which would begin with me doing 4 treble crochet together, except the special one. So we're going to yarn over twice, insert into the next single crochet, draw a loop, yarn over, draw through 2 loops, yarn over, draw through 2 loops, 2 loops left on the hook. So we're going to yarn over twice, insert into that same stitch, do the same thing, draw through 2, draw through 2, 3 loops left on the hook, yarn over twice. We're now going to insert into the next available single crochet, draw through 2, draw through 2. We have 4 loops left on the hook, and so we're going to yarn over twice and insert our hook into that same stitch that we just worked that last partially done treble crochet. Draw through 2, draw through 2, 5 loops left on the hook. So as you can see, this is what we've done. We have 4 incomplete treble crochets worked into 2 single crochet stitches from the previous round. And so now we're going to draw through all of these. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to do a single crochet in the next stitch, and we're going to chain 3. And so that will get repeated at this point 2 more times until we get to the next set of special instructions. So I'll finish these next 2 petals, and then we'll finish the 5th petal. Also, just as a reminder, the terminology I'm using here for treble crochet is the US terminology. So yes, I shall now finish this and be back when I finish 2 more petals. Alright, so I finished the other 2 petals by repeating that set of instructions, and remember that repeat goes up to the chain 3. So as you can see, I've ended this by finishing that chain 3 there. So now the next petal is worked basically the same way, except the last instruction is a little different. So let's first work our special 4 treble crochet together. Gonna do that. Into the same one. And now into the next one. And into the next one again. Or the same one again. Join together, so that's our special 4 treble crochet together. We're going to chain 3, and this is where the instruction changes, and all we're doing now is making a slip stitch into the first chain. So that chain gets used quite a bit. So our chain is going to be where we worked the first set of chain 4. So we're just going to go right into there. Oof, which mine is still too tight, but it's doable. With a little bit of persuasion, we've got it. And this is our slip stitch. So now we can fasten off right here. There you have it. You're actually done now. This is literally it. As you can see, this center is a little large, which can be but it's not horrible. So if you want to make it smaller, you can do a smaller chain ring. Just do keep in mind that you have to fit 14 single crochets in there. Or you can do it the more, I guess you could call it, aggressive way by making a magic circle, and then you can work as many stitches as you want and just cinch the center as small as you can get it, so that that'll look a little smaller. As I said before though, I don't really mind. So this is it, but now there's something special that you can do with this kind of a pattern. You can do a more advanced pattern, which would look something like this, where you get 2 flowers. And the key is that when you work this next round, the round with the petals, instead of working into both loops, you only work into the back loops. So I'll quickly set up a flower that I can demonstrate this on to show you. So I worked this to the last petal to be done, and this is the special one where basically I work the same exact pattern, except I'm working only into the back loop. So I'll show you that in a second, but to make this style a little easier, I modified the pattern. Number 1, to show you that you can make the center a little smaller, which I can't do right now because I used it as my tie, but I did a magic circle. So when I'm done, I can pull that and make it smaller. Also, instead of doing a chain 1, I did 15 single crochets. So instead of doing 14 single crochets with that chain 1 at the beginning, I just did 15 single crochets. And the reason why is because you need to work into the back loop of all of the loops that you work into and that chain you work into. So that would be a little tricky. So to make it easier, I just did 15 single crochets. So let me finish this last petal here. It's the exact same pattern, except instead of working into both loops, I'm working only into the back loop. So I'm not sure if you can tell, but let me pick up both loops here. So normally we worked under both loops, but instead you're just going to find that back loop and work the same pattern, but only in the back loop. Now, if you haven't seen, I have a video on working in the front loops and the back loops, which I will encourage you to view, but it explains the different effects that you can get by doing that. And one of them is that it leaves behind a free loop. And that free loop is what we're going to utilize in this advanced, not quite, but advanced flower that we're trying to make here, so that we can add another round of petals, but not be, another round in the sense of adding an entire new border or perimeter or whatever to the flower. So let me through those. Let's see if I did that right. I think I did. And now we're going to chain 3, and we're going to join with a slip stitch into the back loop of the first single crochet, because we have 15 single crochets instead of 14 single crochets in a chain. And here, this piece of the pattern is now done. So let me pull that. And now let me just quickly untie this so I can show you, if you so choose, what you can do by using the magic circle. Let me tie these two together instead. And so with the magic circle here, we can just pull this and pull the center together as close as it's willing to go. Now, if you don't tie this off, it will loosen back up. See, I can pull it right back. But you can pull it as tight as you would like it, and you can get a flower with a much more, concise, closer circle. Now, one thing about this that I will mention, when you work in the back loops, it kind of pulls the whole loop through, so it kind of looks different. See, with this one, it looks a lot neater, I guess you could say, as opposed to this, if you can see what I mean. The loops that you work into are a lot larger. But when you work the second round with the free loops here, just pick one of those up, you can see the free loops in the center. When we work into those, it'll all balance out, so it'll look just fine. So all the way around, we have these free loops that we've created by working in only the back loops. And so we're going to use those free loops. Here's where we get to switch to our next color, which will be this purple that I now have to find the end. And here's the end. And so for this, we are going to join at an offset of the petal. So in this case of the original round, we joined technically right here, and we worked all the way around. What we're going to do instead is we're going to join right here for this next round, so that our petals are offset. So if we do this right, we use that one, 1, 2, 3. So it's kind of an even number. It's not an odd number, so we don't get to go straight in the middle. But I'll just pick this one right here to do this one right here to do the offset. Guess an offset by 1 stitch will be enough. And we'll join it, our new color, right into that free loop. So again, let me just show you up close these free loops here that are created by working in the back loop only. So if I pull one of these, just pick a random one here, you'll see that it's a loop that we can use. So that's what we're using to work this next round. So I am going to make a slip stitch here, and we're going to modify this pattern just a little because these petals will be smaller than the original ones. So what we're going to do at the beginning is we are going to chain 2 or 3. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Because we're modifying this pattern, because we worked treble crochets here, and we're going to work double crochets now instead. So the flower will be just a little smaller. So we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to do a special double crochet 4 together. So we're going to draw through 2. We have 2 left on the hook, because normally this would be a double crochet, but we're going to do another one. So we're going to yarn over, insert, draw through 2, yarn over, insert into the next free loop, the next stitch, draw through 2, yarn over once, insert into that same one, draw through 2, so we have 5 loops left on the hook. So if you see here, we did the same special double crochet, treble crochet 4 together, but with double crochets. And as you can see here, we worked them part way, and now I can just yarn over, draw through all of those, and chain 2. 1, 2, into this next free loop right here. Gonna work a single crochet, and we will repeat this. So you're basically doing the same pattern except with one less chain on each of the parts where you do a chain. In the beginning we did 4 for this one, we're doing 3 for this one, and for the rest of them we did 3 for these, and we're going to do 2 for these, and then we work double crochets instead of treble crochets. So I'll just finish this up and show you the final result. So I haven't finished the flower yet, just one more petal to go, but I'd like to bring up something that you may encounter. So I had a little trouble on this loop here. I couldn't get it up. I finally have, as you can see here, but I was having some trouble getting it, and I think the reason is because that is the single crochet replacement for that chain that I was working into in the previous round that we did, and so it is still a little tight. So just as a recommendation, you can try to make that single crochet a little looser, but this is why it would have been much harder had I tried to do the same thing with a chain. Just by the nature of chains, it would have been a little harder. If you do run into this problem and you can't get that loop, it's okay if you work into a nearby loop that you can find that might be available, or you can struggle to pick it up. Either way. But for me, I got it, so I'll just quickly finish this last piece here. But yeah, I thought I'd let you guys know that because I'm sure you might encounter it as well. So, oops, all that pulling. Let me redo my chain here. 1, 2, yarn over, make a partial double crochet, yarn over, make another partial double crochet, if I can get it through, yarn over, into the next loop, yarn over, to the next loop, yarn over, pull through all of those, chain 2, and slip stitch into that first one that we worked into. We can fasten off. There we go. And there you have it. This is how you can make your flower a little bit more advanced than it was before. We have the bottom petals and we have the top petals. Nice, small, and cute. Of course, this is an applique, so you'd want to fasten off all these, weave them in, like trim them and weave them in. Also, for this one at the top, what you can do, because the yarn is kind of up here, it's kind of a little awkward, what you can do is make sure that all of this is tight where it's supposed to be. Tie these two together, the two purple ends, because you slip stitched them in the same place. So if you just tie those together, you can then go from the bottom of your flower right through that hole, which should be right there. Find that hole between the yellow stitch piece, the bottom to the purple, and we can just grab those and pull them underneath so that you don't have to see them at the top and whoops, pulled them to the wrong hole. Let's try that again. Right there. And got it. So you can see here, if I pulled it right through this between spot right there, through the bottom. And that can keep them out of the way so that they're not visible at the top, and allows you to tie them off with stuff down here, fasten them, or weave them in through the bottom so that they're less visible. I'll trim these right now, but I won't bother weaving them in. But that's what you would do. You just weave in those ends, and then you have a nice flower. Now, you also may notice that the petals sometimes curl up on you. That's perfectly fine. Part of the reason for this is if you chain loosely, which I happen to do in this case, it will not have enough room, and so it will choose to go either forwards or backwards to compensate for the amount of space it has. Also, if your chains are a little tight, it will do the same thing. That's what happened to me here with the smaller petal. My chains were, a little bit more on the tight side, and so it causes the same effect. But that's fine because this can be brought out pretty easily, and also if you so choose, you can block this and allow it to keep its shape a lot better. So this is how we make the flower applique. Here's the regular one, and I've made these two before. Just a regular flower here, just like this one. And then we also have our dual petal flower. And in this case, I made my chains too short. I can't remember if I decided to use half double crochet on this or not, but I did too short a chain. I did one chain, so as you can see, it doesn't quite look as flower-like, but it still has a nice look to it. So yep, some flowers here that you can make and attach to whatever you'd like, or even you can put in your hair or something. If you're a girl, you might like that. So here's a simple, easy project for how to make some flowers, flower applique. So for now, that will be all for this video. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this tutorial and want to learn more about crochet, be sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss another video. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, and also share this video with your friends and family or on social media. And feel free to leave a comment down below. If you have any questions or suggestions or any feedback, I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, catch you later.